Alright, as promised, DO build. So my DO build is set up basically to DPS. It still does the debuffs that a DO can do, um, but it's more of a DPS oriented type of DO than it is, say, like for healing or pure supportive. Um, the AC, in my opinion, like I said, my AC build does most of buffing, debuffing. The DO just does its extra stuff that only a DO can get. So starting out, my stats, I've got strength and wisdom, just like my AC. My DO won't even be stacking as much recovery to make this up as my AC, because the only daily you really have to worry about as a DO is just popping down hollowed ground. All my armor are pretty much the exact same. It's still the guys of the wolf can. Bronze with chest piece, black ice in the defense. The vivified arms, the primal boots, which tomorrow will be vivified. Hopefully, if I can get a carving. And then I run the primal as my weapon set. The main hand has Brand of the Sun damage as the extra, or artifact power, and then on this one I have Terrified Insight, increases your crit severity by 5%, and combat advantage bonus. This Sigil Devoted is going to be swapped out with a Key of the Fragment Stars once I get it, and then that's pretty much how my setup will be. Heart of the Black Dragon, Strata Orcus, Tome Sentence, and then Key of the Fragment Stars. I've looked at and thought about dropping this for the, I believe it's a Cincture of Atropole. Basically, it's active. It looks like Rosny's spin move, and it's a big debuff. It just doesn't have a duration, so I'm not sure how long it lasts compared to this, but it is a slightly better debuff. I have the upper primal paints. I am going to have the lower ones as well. I need about 500 more treasures. I've just been lazy and haven't been farming them. The demo belt, of course, and the demo necklace to go with the Strata Orcus. And I have my 2 Grave Strikers that I still run here. My plan is on my DO, the DO specific pieces, so the weapons that the upper piece of the primal and then the necklace for the offense slots are going to have brutals. They're just not that high yet, and then I do run a dread in my DO rather than the frost like I do in my AC. That's pretty much it for armor. As for powers, I run Lance of Faith. That's kind of like a filler after I put Burn of the Sun down. Flame Strike, more like an AoE type thing for when I'm solo farming and whatnot, but in a party and normally only popping hollowed ground. I run Chains and Daunting Light, generally for ads, just to burn through DPS. Then I run Holy Fervor for more AP gain, just to help me out a little bit, so I can maintain hollow ground, since, like I said, I don't have much recovery. For bosses, I definitely run Prophecy of Doom. It's a really good debuff that only DOs could grab to put out, and then I have Brand of the Sun as my other at-will later. And I used to only use this really and just put Astral Seal on bosses, but I switched to using Lance just because it's a bit faster and does decent damage. This is like a debuff applied, and there's a feat that applies to this as well. Terrified Insight as my other passive ability. Awesome ability that only DOs can grab. Increase everyone's damage. And then Divine Glow. Generally always in my encounter list. Just during bosses, generally, I'll drop Chains and put in Break the Spirit. That way the AC can run Forge Masters and Exhaustion. Then I'll run Break the Spirit. And then I'll do 3 Divine Glows in Divine mode, and then an Empowered Break the Spirit to get that good buff out. Hammer Fate is a good single target damage daily power. Some DOs do like Hastening Light as well, just to help allies recharge speed when they use dailies. For feats, I focus more on damage typing feats, so that's kind of where I went with it. I have 3 for 3 in toughness, 2 for 3 in wisdom. I went with this rather than the AP gain because I don't really do too many healing abilities other than Divine Glow, so I just took the little extra healing because I needed the points to progress. 2 for 5 out of the recovery. I went 3 for 3 in the crit. I took 1 here, just that way when I do get crits, it's a little extra healing to help. I went 5 for 5 here to gain crit from my power. And I went 4 for 5 here just for some more divine power gain. 5 for 5 here, more damage. 5 for 5 here, more AP when doing damage. So I was talking about the Brand of the Sun. It reduces the target's damage, so and their chance to crit. So I mean, just a little debuff to make them a bit weaker. Righteous Suffering. When you take damage, you deal more damage. When you are taken below 30%, you deal more damage. Piercing Light gives you armor pen. I went 5 for 5 here for the extra damage off the crit strike. Condemning Gaze thankfully still stacks, so I took that. It's a nice little debuff that helps the whole party, and then obviously Avatar. For my boons, right now my armor pen is severely low, so I run the armor pen one. If I get my armor pen high enough where it needs to be, I'll switch to power. I still run defense. Utility, you can run whatever you please, and then PvP, you can run whatever you please. Sharandar, I took 400 power, 400 crit, more AP, and then dealing extra damage, and then I took Illustrator obviously for the power when you kill foes. Dreadring, I took power and movement, lifesteal, resistance ignored. It's kind of like your armor pen type. More damage and a debuff, and then Rampage Madness for the extra stats and that it gives you. Icewind Dale, took combat advantage bonus, stamina gain, recovery, power up based on stamina missing, and then AP when killing a target. Underdark, power HP, crit HP, combat advantage, stamina regain, and then obviously damage against demons. Tyranny of Dragons, I took power, critical strike, armor pen, lifesteal rating, and I went 3 for 3 in crit severity. Maze Engine, I took lifesteal severity, combat advantage bonus, AP gain, and then Baphomet's Might for the extra crit chance. Elemental Evil, power HP, lifesteal severity HP, crit strike HP, and then I took the one that gives more crit rather than recovery. You could really go either way, it just depends on what you want. Storm King's Thunder, I took lifesteal severity HP, incoming healing, and recovery on stamina, HP obviously. I took one here just for maybe a little extra when if it does proc on my Divine Glow, and I put 2 for 3 in the Chill Winter there just for those stacks. Cloak Ascendancy, I took Demoralize in this build just for that chance to stun, crit and HP, recovery and HP, and then I took Aberrant Power again. I just feel like it's the most balanced or useful for a DC out of the 4. Tyrant or Jungle's Troll, I took 3 for 3 in power, and then the same thing, 2 in defense, 1 in deflect. And then I went with 2 for 2 in Soul Siphon. On to companions. My main summon I use is a tiger. Terribly geared right now, I know. But once it has everything it needs, the plan is that it'll be full Zers to get my crit where it needs to be. If I hit that crit cap, like I said, I might switch some to Darks for armor pen, or switch some of my offensive brutals to Black Ice. I'm too lazy and too cheap to swap my rank 13 bondings for my shield over, so I just run rank 8s on this one. The Ghost is going to be changed to an Earth element or Earth Archon. I just haven't gotten one yet. I run an Air Archon and a Fire Archon for that Holy Trinity of them doing the extra damage and then their own effects of damage, and then I run a Siege Master. Mod 14, I might drop the Siege Master for the new one that's coming in the lockbox. I believe it's the Razorwood. It's 25% crit or combat advantage and 2.5% crit severity. So I'm debating on swapping this out with that one, or maybe the fire, and then keeping the air and the earth. I don't know yet though. For mounts, I still run the power. I mean, you could probably run a few different things here of your choice of what you like. You could even put in a more DPS oriented one, combat power. If I ever get the T-Rex, I'd probably still run the T-Rex, although if you really wanted to be more DPS oriented, like a focus on, obviously a Tensor Disc would work well. If the Bat Swarm does stack its debuff, the Bat Swarm would be great there because it does do a damage buff for yourself too. Stable, I run Shepherd's Devotion, Gladiator's Guile, Cavalry's Warning, Assassin's Covenant, Artificer's Persuasion. The only difference here between my AC is Cavalry's Warning. I drop the second Assassin's Covenant for it. I don't power share as a DO, so I don't need the extra power from the Assassin's Covenant. That's pretty much my DO build as it sits. Like I said, my crit is a bit low. My arm pen gets where it needs to be in combat, so it's not terrible. Go down and look at this. Yeah, 51.5. I'd like it a tad bit higher. And then my armor pen C 95% in combat, it hits that 100% mark where it needs to be. So put Band of the Sun, Lance of Faith, and then if I'm like DPSing ads, it's just Divine Glow, Divine Glow, Divine Glow, followed by Divine Glow, Chains, or Daunting Light, sorry, not Divine Glow, Hollow Ground, Black Dragon debuff, the Whirlwind's more for Cavalry's Warning pop. I wish there's a faster way to cycle through here. It's 64, 101. See, like I get up there and that's solo. That's not buffed up or anything, you know, in a party. That's pretty much my DO build. Hopefully this helps out. If it's something you're interested in or have questions about, feel free to ask in the comments. Take care.